House Select Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us on this Sunday.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Is the Mueller investigation safe?
It's safe. Let me give you my position. I never thought there should have been a special counsel in the first place. I think the Russian investigation is baseless. The president has the right to fire Bob Mueller, but I don't think he should. The investigation should wind up relatively soon. But the president, to me, under the Constitution, under separation of powers, certainly has the right to fire him, but I don't think he should. It would be counterproductive, and it would create too many questions out there after it's gone on for this long. But he has the right to do it, but he shouldn't do it.
So I understand you don't believe that this should have even come to having a special counsel investigation, but some of your Republican colleagues clearly disagree, and they've actually introduced legislation now to protect special counsel Bob Mueller. Would you support that legislation?
Absolutely not. The president should have the right. The special counsel is under the executive. The president should be able to control the executive. If Congress wants to take action against the president, they have the right to do that. But just because they have concerns about President Trump, whether they're legitimate or not, you should not be cutting into a president's executive powers. And to me, if the president doesn't have the right to fire him, then you're talking about no elected official having the power over a special counsel who has too much power to begin with.
Does it bother you that the president is going after his attorney general and the deputy attorney general, both people who he appointed, both Republicans?
Yeah, I have a very high regard for Jeff Sessions. I like Jeff Sessions. I think he's a thorough professional. He was caught in a very, really tough position. I think it was sort of a bad rap against him just because he happened to speak to the Russian ambassador, which every member of Congress or senator has. But the president, I think he'd be better advised not to be criticizing Jeff Sessions. He was in a very, very tough position when he was appointed, and he accepted the appointment. I don't think he realized he was going to get caught in the middle of this, even though he's done nothing wrong. He's entirely blameless, but he would have been a witness, and so for that reason he had to recuse himself. And as far as Rosenstein, I have problems with him. He's been very uncooperative with Congress, refusing to turn over documents, delaying and delaying and delaying. But again, it serves no purpose to be firing these people because it'll just raise more questions. It'll give the media and the president's opponents the opportunity to keep this investigation going on even longer when it should have been ended a long time ago.
The president has been tweeting an awful lot this weekend about his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, and the idea of him potentially flipping. Of course, he is under investigation in the Southern District of New York. Why do you think the president is worried about Cohen flipping if he has nothing to hide?
I don't think he's worried about him flipping. I think he's very concerned about Michael Cohen because he's a good friend of his. He's his lawyer. And I can tell you, as far as the Russia investigation, I've seen no evidence at all indicating anything that Michael Cohen has done wrong. He's been, every fact that's been raised against him has been rebutted. So as far as the Russia investigation, there's nothing there. And I think if you have a friend and he's under pressure, it's only human nature to be reaching out to him and to be concerned about him. I think Michael Cohen becomes collateral damage in this. They're after the president, and they're maybe trying to put pressure on Michael Cohen. But again, I think the president's more concerned about Michael Cohen here. And if I'm not aware of anything that Michael Cohen would, quote unquote, have on the president, certainly there's nothing involving Russia from everything I've seen.
Is he acting like an innocent man?
Who, the president?
Yes, the president.
Yeah, sure. Why is he doing this? He is innocent. Why shouldn't he act like an innocent man? I mean, the media acts as if they're biased and they're after the president. Certainly your channel, CNN, certainly does. But the fact is that with all this 18 months of investigation on Russia, there's not one fact of collusion, but you would never know that, so listen to the media.
Well, we don't know if there's collusion. That's still under investigation. We don't know what Robert Mueller has as far as evidence, but we do know that he has indicted people, he has pressed charges, people have pleaded guilty, his investigation has bared fruit already, but it's not over.
Okay, you are proving my point. After 18 months of investigation going after one man on Russian collusion, they have not found one instance of collusion. All those indictments you're talking about have nothing to do with the campaign, nothing to do with collusion with Russia. And that's the whole point. They're trying everything they can, but they've got absolutely nothing on the president. Nothing at all. Not one fact.
Again, we don't know that because the conclusion hasn't been completed just yet. But I want to move on because I want to pivot to something else the president tweeted about this weekend. He floated this idea of a posthumous pardon for legendary boxer Jack Johnson, something I know you care about a lot. He is the first African-American heavyweight world champion. I'm wondering if you have talked to the president about this and why you feel he does deserve a pardon.
Yeah, this goes back more than 10 years. John McCain and I first introduced this back, I think, 2006, 2007. Since then, Harry Reid was involved. Cory Booker's been involved. Jack Johnson was the first African-American heavyweight champion in the world, which at that time was the most important sports personality in the world. He was charged, prosecuted, and basically lost his championship on phony charges. The fact that he, under the Mann Act, because he had a white girlfriend and took her across state lines, he went to jail for a year for that. His career was ruined. He tried to make a comeback and he was knocked out. His career was ruined because he was a black man. And John McCain and I both thought that here in 2008 especially, you had the first African-American president of the United States, and the white man who was defeated by Barack Obama. Both John and I passed a resolution calling on the president to give him a pardon, which he didn't do, which was really unfortunate. Again, it's rectifying injustice. It's a way to bring the country together and to say this is a stain on the country and we're taking it away by granting a pardon to Jack Johnson. He was tried improperly. It was a bad investigation. It was false charges against him, and he was targeted because he was an African American.
Have you spoken to President Trump about this?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't spoken to President Trump. Apparently spoke to Sylvester Stallone, who I know obviously is a big boxing fan, as I am, and Sylvester Stallone raised the issue with him, because I know it's been a big issue with Stallone. And also the president is a big boxing fan. He used to promote fights. You see him in Atlantic City, Las Vegas. He is a very big boxing fan, so I can see why this would appeal to him.
But do you see any hypocrisy given how the president has gone after some of the most famous black athletes during his presidency, including Colin Kaepernick, for example, for protesting racial injustice?
No, that's not true. Racial Kaepernick is not protesting racial injustice. He's saying that cops are targeting blacks. Nobody does more to protect African Americans in this country than the police. So Colin Kaepernick is part of the war on cops, and he's a disgrace. I fully support President Trump when he goes after Colin Kaepernick. We're not doing racial injustice. We're talking about injustice that Kaepernick is using against the police of this country.
Though, he's gone after LeBron James. He's gone after Steph Curry. He's called SOBs.
He's gone after everybody.
Regarding the athletes who are protesting at the national anthem.
You know, wow. You people are so biased. He also gone after Hillary Clinton. He's gone after Jeff Sessions. He's gone after Rod Rosenstein. President Trump is a non-discriminating